Hi everyone, it's Simmer Hills here and I'm back in The Sims 4 after a very long break, and it's because of the new Sims 4 high school pack, and I really wanted to build with this, and I just thought it was the perfect opportunity to try and recreate my high school that I went to, which was kind of a while ago now, but I thought let's have a try at making it as realistic as possible. The thing with my high school was it was it was really difficult to recreate in The Sims because it was kind of on different levels. So there was just it was a bit of a nightmare to create because I had to use platforms which can be a bit glitchy. And I've tried to make it as realistic with the constraints in the Sims as I can. So it looks like you have to go down to a basement to the lockers, which they kind of were, but they kind of weren't because the front of the school was higher than the back. So that level actually brought you out to the floor level at the back of the school, but that was lower than the front. So in this game, I've had to do it as a proper basement, and it isn't obviously level with the back of the floor. But yeah, there's little things like that throughout that I've had to do to fit in with what I can do in The Sims. So things like that are not realistic, but I've tried to make it as realistic as possible. So I'm just going to show you a photo now of what the school actually looks like. So this is the front of the school, and I really wanted to get the entrance right. I thought that kind of gives you the impression of the school. So yeah, that's the main image I've gone for, and I tried to get a couple of shots of the overall view. So I've got the layout pretty much as close as I can get it. Obviously the inside of the school, the size of the rooms and stuff won't match up, but I've tried to really make it as realistic looking as possible. So I started building this before I got the new pack because I knew a lot of the items I was getting with the new pack was too modern for what this type of school was. This is quite a traditional looking school. So yeah, I thought a lot of the items are a little bit more art deco. They wouldn't really fit in with this build. So I will use some of the new items, but I'm using a lot of what we already had, to be honest. Once we get to furnishing it inside of the school, which is going to be on a separate video because otherwise it would just be too long. So I thought I'll do the actual build and then furnishing it in two separate parts. So I'm splitting it up just so that it's not like 2 hours long, which hopefully it's not going to be quite an hour, this one, but it does take quite a long time. I think when you're going for like a build that you know or that you are trying to replicate, it takes a bit longer than a normal build, so that's why this one is a bit longer than normal. I've landscaped it slightly different to how I remember the school, but again I've just tried to make areas. I think high schools have like certain sections and areas, so I've tried to do it like that so that there's places where the teenagers can kind of hang out, and also the cafeteria wasn't in the main building, so I've done it the same as what we had at school. I don't know what most people's schools are. I don't know if the cafeteria was in the main building, but this one has a big giant hall, which is it was like the most beautiful hall really, and I just thought I'd like to recreate that. But obviously it's kind of a bit of a wasted space because you wouldn't really use it in gameplay. So if you wanted to use this build, you could always relocate the cafeteria to the hall. I just thought it was kind of too nice looking to have the cafeteria in there, so I just didn't put it in there. So yeah, there's just all these little nuances that you can't always get quite right in The Sims, but I've tried to get it to the best of what I remember. I mean, obviously it's a while since I went to school, but I've tried to get it as near as I can remember it. But I'm sure if I look around now, I'll be like, oh no, it wasn't quite like that. But you know, you just gotta build with what you can remember. So yeah, as I say, because I had to put the lockers were actually under the main hall. We didn't have them in the hallways like I know. Well, I don't know from American high schools, but I know in a lot of the movies, the American high schools have them in the hallways or the corridors. But we didn't have it like that. We had like this big basement, and it had two big side sections with lockers in, and they would get locked during the day, or locked on the morning and night and open during the day, so you could put your things in your locker and then forget about them. And the lockers would be locked up. They were in like these big caged areas. So yeah, I don't know why they was really caged away, because you had your own key for your locker as well. So I suppose it was just extra security. But thinking back, it was a little bit weird. So yeah, this school was used as one of the World War hospitals in World War One before it became a school. So one of the things we always remember at school, like if I talk to anybody who went to the school, you always remember we had these like really dark green tiles, and we just don't have a wallpaper that's quite the same. So when we get to kind of decorating it and stuff, I thought I really want to get the green in. I couldn't quite get the right green, but I've tried to go as close as I could. But the main things are there, like the character of the building. I think the roof looks really close as well. I think I've got the roof in really similar to how the actual building is. And yeah, we've got some of the oldie worldy details in there, which I'm quite pleased about, because it was a bit of a tricky build. And also there's like this gap between the hall and the main building, and it's like where there's a gap between the roofing, so it's like a flat roof between the two areas. So I covered it. I just thought it looked really daft with the flat bit, although I think it had things on, but I couldn't quite see in the picture very well. But it was flat, that area between where the hall meets the main building. So I put the air vents on, so it looked like a bit of detail, like it was done intentionally. I'm not sure why it's like that, and I couldn't get a close enough picture to see what was actually on there. So that's what I've gone with, just so that detail's kind of filled in. And then the main part of the entrance, I think, is the prettiest part of the building, and that's where I kind of tried to put the most detail on to make it look as, yeah, quite detailed, and just look how it looks in the picture. So I did struggle with this bit, and I was trying to put all different items there to try and make it look quite grand, but some of it made it look too grand. Like it looks nice, but it isn't it isn't something that I didn't want to make it something that it wasn't originally. So yeah, this bit was a bit of a struggle to get right, but I spent a long time doing it so that I could get it as close as possible. And just getting the woods to match as well, that can be kind of time consuming, because obviously if you see it now, the posts are a lot more yellow than the trim, and I wanted it all to match because it looked like it matched in the picture. So I was trying to get them to match. And it's just all things like this. It just really does take time. I thought these posts looked the most realistic to the picture, as I showed you. So yeah, I did try and get everything as matching as I could. But it just, yeah, I don't know. I think the entrance looks quite nice in the end. I'm not sure if I changed the door. Oh, I might have just changed the colour. Yeah, because I thought the door didn't look quite right. But in the original image, the door is white, but it's more solid. But we didn't have a door that looked quite grand to fill the space. And as I say, because I use platforms as well, so that the ground floor is actually tall height, but because of the different levels, it doesn't look as tall, because you're going up the steps to get in. So that upper level that fills the full ground floor, it looks like, I don't know, it looks like probably a medium height instead of a tall one, or maybe even the short height. So the platform's quite deceiving actually. The only thing is, once you've got the platforms in, the wallpaper, when you're trying to put it on, you miss the bottom part of the whatever wallpaper you're using. So some of them, you think, oh, that's got the tile on, it looks really good. But actually you're only seeing a tiny bit of it because I'm using the platforms. So then some of the wallpapers just wouldn't work with this particular build. But obviously if you're not using platforms, it's not a problem. But because of the layout of this build, I just felt like I really had to use platforms, so it did limit some of the things I was doing. Yeah, I think platforms can be a challenge. I'll just leave it at that. I think they can be a challenge, but you definitely get the right proportions, and I think you get more of a detailed build and a bit more of the build has a bit more character with the platform. So I was pleased I used them, even though I was cursing at times that I was using them because of just the problems they was giving me. To try and make the basement floor work, because there was a part where you could go from this area to the main hall, but it just wasn't working because it wasn't kind of a basement. It just wasn't working the way that I remember that you could get to the main hall, because it maybe was like a half staircase, and it just, yeah, it just wasn't working. So what I decided to do was make like a little add-on to the back of the hall, which wasn't there. There wasn't this part here, but there was this area at the back of the hall where but it was from underneath. It was from near where the toilets are, because that's where you came out. But obviously with the levels, with this part of the school being lower than the front, I just couldn't get it to work right. And my mum was kind of like, oh, how do I make this work, because this should be lower. So I did this add-on as like a bit where you could come up from the basement, and then you could come out to the back of the school the way that we did, but obviously it was lower. So I don't know if that even makes sense. I'm not sure. I'm trying to explain it. But yeah, it was a bit of a higgledy-piggledy build. Let's put it like that, because it was an old building, and it wasn't quite on flat ground. So yeah, that's all. And then this is the main hall, what I call the grand hall, because we did have another hall as well, which was like the sports hall, as well as a PE hall, but that was a separate building. So I haven't put the separate PE building, but I have done a sports hall in the main building. So there's a sports hall, there's the main hall, which is like a grand posh hall. You could also use this for proms as well. I think because it's quite grand and it looks quite luxurious, so I think this would be quite kind of a nice room for a prom. Yeah, I think this one, you get some nice screenshots in this build as well. So yeah, I think this one would be a really nice room for that. There's a stage, we've got a little podium, we have so I think that like the principals could give speeches, you could have your graduation ceremonies in there. Although I haven't done a graduation ceremony, so I'm yet to test that out. I don't even know how they really work, to be honest. I've not watched a lot of videos about it yet, because I want to do it. I want to kind of go through it myself without having spoilers. But I'm waiting for the patch regarding the Sims lifespan, so I haven't played it yet. I want to wait until that patch is fixed before I create like a family and some teenagers to try it all out with, because I do want to test the gameplay on this. I think this pack has been really well done actually. I know there's glitches at the minute, which I'm hoping will get sorted out. I did do a round build as well, which is on my gallery. My gallery ID is Simmer Hills as well, so it's the same as on here. I just did it just to try it out, and it's not like the prettiest build or anything like that, but I wanted to just do it because we've got, we've wanted round walls and we've got them, but it is so buggy. It's so hard to build with. If you do a build and you want to incorporate round walls, I would suggest making it a really small portion of your build and not do a full round build like I did, because even just placing down objects is so difficult because it won't snap to the grid, and it it was absolutely driving me crazy. I really hope they can get some kind of fix to the round walls. I'm not sure if they're ever going to work in the game properly as they should, but at the minute I don't think it's really workable. I'm finding them too much like hard work, to be honest. So yeah, that's my opinion on the round walls. They're just too difficult to kind of build with, and that's kind of what I enjoy the most as well in The Sims. So yeah, it's a bit unfortunate, and I was a bit gutted because I was really looking forward to doing some builds with them. But I didn't film it or anything because it was just too glitchy to film. Every time you was trying to place an object, it was moving, and you can't change the way the floor is because it only does it in the main part, and then the edges face a different direction, so you can't change the direction of flooring. There's a lot of things. If you put a round wall on a straight wall, there's a lot of glitching where the floor meets it. Even when I use platforms as the roof, there was glitching happening with that. When you're building and you're looking down into the build with the walls up, there's some marks still where the roof should be, even though you've got the roof missing from the build view. But there's a lot of like little glitchy marks that should have been removed that are still showing. So yeah, I actually came across quite a lot of problems with it. So I was a little bit disappointed. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. I don't want to like put a big downer on it because I'm glad we've got them, but I think they should have had more work before they was released. Because it I just think being released as they are, then they're just not usable. For general gameplay, they're just not usable. So I think they need redoing. And I think I'm just trying to put it nicely, but I just think they need redoing because you can't play it the way it is. So hopefully they get redone and we get an update with round walls that we can use. But I didn't need to use them in this build. My school just didn't have rounded walls. It's quite a traditional English looking school. So yeah, the cafeteria was more modern. It was more like a shed, if I'm honest. I've probably tried to make it look nicer than it even was. It was just a little shed at the back of the school, which was like a food hall, and you could go. And I didn't go in it very often because I used to just take pack lunch. I didn't really have school dinners. They were not great. So yeah, I'd rather just take a pack lunch in. But yeah, it was just a little glorified shed, really. So I've tried to make it look more modern than the main building because it wasn't fancy at all. And then just landscaping. So this video will kind of finish off with the landscaping, and then this will lead us into the next video, which is the furnishing. I did spend quite a long time landscaping this, more than I thought I would, and I quite enjoyed the landscaping of this one, especially with it having a bit more texture because I did use the sculpture tool to add a few hills, although you can't see them at first glance, and I do try and merge them all in. But I thought because the build was on a bit of a slope, I thought it'd be nice to incorporate some kind of landscaping into it and not just have a fully flat plot. So I'm kind of glad because I think it works really well with this building, and just gives it a bit more character again. So yeah, I'm really glad the landscaping works quite well on this. And looking at it from the front, you can't tell it's particularly on a hill, only maybe where the stairs are, you can see the little slope going up. But other than that, you can't see the slope coming towards you. So it's really subtle, and yeah, that's the kind of look I was going for. So I'm glad that bit worked out. Just adding the ivy because it did have ivy around the front of the building, but not over the whole building. So I've just added a little bit, maybe a little bit too much, I don't know, but yeah, I've added a little bit and just tried to make it fit in the best I can. I haven't limited packs, so if you haven't got all the packs, I don't know which items would be missing, but I think when you're going for realism, you've just got to use the objects that you've got and see which ones fit it best. So yeah, I'm not sure which packs I used. I haven't got the two. I think that is one of the only packs I haven't got. Some of the kits as well I haven't got, but otherwise I think I've got all the packs. Batu and some of the kits I haven't. So yeah, if you haven't got all the packs, obviously you could download it and it'll just switch some of the items out. But I've tried to go with things that I think fit with the style of the building. So I wasn't particularly looking, I'm trying to limit which packs were in it. I know that doesn't bother some people, but other people it does. They like you to just use base game or maybe only a few packs, but I just don't build that way. I just build with whatever packs I've got. And again, I was trying to fit this is when I was trying to get the platforms right for the outside to fit with the inside. Yeah, it took a bit of jiggling about, but I think it was worth it, and I think it looks really good from the outside. So I'm quite pleased with how it's worked. I do need to do a test play in it actually, just to make sure all the platforms don't cause buggy gameplay. So I will test it all out, but this is just more for aesthetics really. I just wanted to do it just to recreate the school that I went to. So yeah, please let me know what you think. I hope you enjoy the full build, and if you do like it, please do like and subscribe. It would be really appreciated. And I know I haven't done any videos in a long time. I've started a new job, so that's been keeping me busy, but I'm just getting back into playing The Sims again and enjoying it again, so hopefully there'll be some more videos coming soon. I do want to do a few with the high school pack because I think it's one of the better ones that we've had for a long time, and I think it's about time we got some good Sims packs, because I think we have had some rubbish in the last year or so with it, which is a shame, especially with lockdowns and things. I think it would have been the perfect time to have some really nice packs, just to keep everyone occupied. But yeah, I'm really pleased with how this has started out, and I hope you kind of like the finished thing when you see it in the next video. I won't give any spoilers in this video. Hopefully once you see it all come together, you'll like the finished result. So I'll leave you with the landscaping, and then we will pick this up in the next video. It's been nice back filming, and I hope you enjoyed this. Take care. Bye.